How do I want to layer these windows? I think I'll put this one.
Yeah, you can put this one here.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Oh yeah, that's nice. I like that. I got my video over here, the audio, the participants list. Everything's tiled into a block. So nice.
Whatever, dude.
You want to see? You want to see? I know you want to see. I'll show you.
Now you're gonna mess. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Look at that.
You just messed up. You just messed up my screen, dude.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That I record on. It's totally messed up now.
No way. Why would it mess it up that way?
No, it's not. I'm just kidding you.
Oh, you jerk. It looked awesome, didn't it? You're jealous, weren't you?
Wait, I gotta shut off.
A little bit jealous.
Oh my gosh, I shut off. No, I'm not even jealous. I gotta shut off the show.
Super jealous. You don't notice it also taking up other screens and stuff like that as well.
Just close your eyes.
That's the best solution ever.
Point taken, Rocco. Look, you're a perfectionist, man. Just admit it.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I believe the appropriate term is control enthusiast.
Control enthusiast.
I mean, at least 15 minutes.
We want to be
nice.
responsible here.
Yeah. I mean, don't you think?
5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Hey, guys, we're recording in 2 minutes. Do you want to join us? I mean, come on.
Because there's actually only 2 of us recording at the moment, Rocco.
Yes, I know, Zeb.
Well, I'm recording my audio in a he means recording a separate application, though.
I do, but Zeb, we are the only responsible ones here.
Oh, that is so ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Dude,
do not like your attitude today. I generally don't like your attitude, but today I especially don't like it.
Okay, let's see what this is.
It's like a Tekken, only instead of using your hands, you use like sports equipment.
Yeah. Michael, you look thrilled.
Super stupid.
So you want the key then?
I'm in. Let's do it.
You guys make it too easy. Too easy.
Welcome to another episode of Destination Linux Podcast.
Welcome to episode 59. I'm Rocco.
And I'm Ryan.
I'm Zeb.
And I'm Michael.
And this is Destination Linux. Gentlemen, what's going on?
Recording a podcast.
Yeah.
Just being ridiculous.
You guys should have heard the before show ridiculousness that was going on. Maybe it'll be in the outtakes. Maybe it will be so ridiculous it won't make it in the outtakes.
Michael and I had some great suggestions, and you threw them out the door. It's just rude.
I agree. I mean, that's undeniable, really.
Yeah. You'll see.
All right, so stick around. We're going to be covering Ubuntu news. We're going to be covering UBports, Purism, KDE updates, and what we've been doing gaming-wise. So, Ryan, what have you been up to this week?
Well, I have been beta testing ArchMerge, which if you join with Eric's beta testing team, then you get some of these ISOs to test out ahead of time. And if you remember back to the interview, there was an issue I mentioned to him where in any Arch-based distro, when I would first install it, you would see none of the network drives, right? And you'd have to go in and play with the Samba or manually enter in the IP, etc. So he messaged me and said, hey, you need to try out the new ISO. I think I fixed it. And sure enough, I installed ArchMerge, and my Synology NAS and all of my systems were discoverable immediately. I mean, without touching a single thing. Awesome.
Excellent.
So his response back to me was, now I, talking about himself, can finally go get a Synology NAS. So he wanted to fix it first before he went and bought one. So, but awesome work, Eric, for fixing that. Super cool. And lots of new little fixes and bug tweaks and things in this new release we're testing, and it's going to be awesome. So I can't wait till everybody gets their hands on it.
Nice.
What about you, Rocco?
Well, I had a KDE Neon snafu.
Uh-oh. Another one, you mean?
Yeah, another one. Remember I was on phase 1 last week?
Mm-hmm.
Where I was on the LTS and...
Yeah, phase 1.
Phase 1, yeah. And so long story short, I went and tried to boot up after an update, and I got a black screen, and that's all I got. I got nothing else. I couldn't go to a terminal. I couldn't do an Alt F2. I couldn't do nothing. So
was this like a point release upgrade?
It was the point. Yeah, it was a 0.1 upgrade, and I don't think it had anything to do with the Plasma. I mean, it probably had something to do with the Plasma updates, but I think it was conflicting with the NVIDIA drivers, because I would actually boot into a live, mount it from another drive, and then uninstall the NVIDIA drivers, and I would get further than I was getting when I would boot regular. So I'm sorry, the recovery drive, that's what I was booting into.
Yeah, there were some cute issues in the upgrade that had some problems that they fixed today.
See, it's already fixed, Rocco. What's the problem?
Okay, so that leads me to the fact that I am now on phase 2. I'm just
you're on i3?
I'm running smooth. No, remember phase 2 was where I installed the user edition of KDE Neon. So I couldn't fix it. And none of you guys were around to help me. So
I'm
way
actually
to go on
impressed
that one.
because you didn't just go back to Mate. You stayed with KDE, it seems like.
Well, I tried. I tried to fix it. I spent most of the afternoon after I got home from work trying to fix this, and I couldn't. I figured, all right, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to try to fix it, and it wasn't happening. So
just so people know, Rocco, when he says he's fixing stuff, he's just a phase 1 user, just keeps hitting the reset button.
That's it. That's all I do. Hoping and praying that it will boot up. Please boot up this time. No. So I'm on phase 2. I installed the user edition, and oh my gosh, every single day that I've been on the user edition, I get an update. Every day. Whether it be Plasma updates or kernel updates.
But you don't have to update it if it's working, right? I mean, minus security updates.
Okay, so right now on my screen, I have like 120 updates in the little box up there, but I didn't want to update it before the podcast.
336.
Wow, that's crazy.
Well,
so you have
120.
336 pending, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
you don't update them regularly. You don't update it regularly either. You basically get to a point where it's working, and then you stop updating minus security fixes.
I update regularly. Just I don't update every single time.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. Because it's not.
So Rocco, that's a bad habit I've been in distros, specifically with Arch, where every time I see an update, I'm like, ooh, I'm doing it. And I decided this time, because I'm back off of Mint and I'm in Arch, that I'm not going to do that. So I see this little icon over here, and it has updates, and it's driving me nuts. I'm going to click it. But I'm not going to do it this time.
Discover is sitting in the system tray with updates, and it's just calling me to update. Every once in a while, it'll flash a red little icon on top of it.
And it's even... It's messing up your theming, too, because that little thing's off right there. And I know that's driving you nuts.
Update me, Rocco.
It's driving me insane.
Rocco's tossing and turning, sweating in bed. Like, I just want to click it.
My way of doing Arch is when in Arch, do you have an update? Have you updated today? No? Then yes, you have an update. So
exactly.
You don't need a notification thing. Just turn that off, and then, turn it back, just manually do an update whenever you want to.
Yeah.
And you can't even update it after the show because it might muck up your recording.
Exactly. I have to actually edit the podcast, so I'm going to have to wait a couple days to actually update.
Just don't update. You don't have to, except for security fixes.
No, it's going to drive me insane. I'm going to have to. But
That's
I
hilarious.
got a new mouse, too. So, moving on. Zeb, what have you been up to?
Well, last week I reported I was a one-man distro.
How'd that go for you, Zeb?
I'm happy to report that I lasted longer than Rocco's New Year's resolution.
Oh,
but I've now gone back to a multi-distro setup. I tried doing some stuff in GNOME boxes and in virtual boxes, and it's just woeful. So I'm now running Deepin, and very nice it is too. I've restored MX17 and Arch Merge, and I've got 2 more partitions to play with, but I don't know what.
Well, you get the 2 best distros there, MX and Arch Merge. So you don't really need anything else.
No, and I put that Windows thing back on as well. So
Ooh,
we're on the insider track, uber fast stuff. So I know it's going to blow up, and next week I'll be back to a one-man distro because Windows.
You'll be back to Peppermint.
Yeah. So that was my week. My hepatitis raised, and I just had to reinstall stuff.
Call the hotline, Zeb. Call the hotline.
Yep.
I will. There's no point in calling Michael because he doesn't hop anywhere. So what have you been up
Not
to?
really. I've been actually not hopping, but I have been working with the Ubuntu team to fix some Plasma defaults that I don't like. I'm a huge fan of Plasma, as people have probably guessed.
No. Shocking.
I hide it very well. You're right.
Yeah.
I think he's a GNOME man. GNOME.
The other part is that there are things that by default Plasma doesn't do very well, and I've been trying for a significant amount of time to get that changed, but more I haven't really been like trying to jump into a distro and trying to specifically help and talk to developers until now. And so far, Ubuntu has been very receptive to my ideas and have already changed a few things and are currently deciding whether or not to do these other ones. And I still have like 3 or 4 more things to send them that they seem to be very receptive to. So that's awesome. Yeah, I've also been trying out some new music players because there's not enough of those and we need to have
Exactly.
But I decided to try one that I haven't actually tried ever, even though it's been around for years. It's called Juke, Juk, and it's just a KDE player.
Rocco wanted me to ask you how Thunder Roll sounds on it.
Wow.
It sounds beautiful. It sounds beautiful, except for the fact that it's country. But other than that,
what do you got against country music, dude?
It's not anything specific other than the fact that it's country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Continue
The whole
on.
genre.
Continue on.
Exactly. And also I've been working on production stuff for my channel, but mainly I was like making sets so I can record videos. So in this one office, I have 6 sets built.
Wow.
Yeah. And I can it's modular, so I can move the sets and like recreate them whenever I need to without having to like do too much work.
So is this for like unboxing stuff, or what is it for? What's it?
All kinds of, unboxings included.
He could do costume changes during his live show.
Mm-hmm.
Ever seen those videos of those fast costume changes where they put the little sheet up and then drop it? I do that. Really good at that. But mainly it's like I accidentally figured out I could do this because my desk is like one of those stand-up, sit-down desks. And I can move it out of the way so that I can have like a plain background or the walls. And I can move it up so it becomes part of the show or the set. And it, like just a configuration thing. So modularity is awesome.
There you go. Nice.
All right, so let's get on to some real stuff besides what we've been doing. So,
Well, listen, this part I'm just gonna leave.
yeah,
I'm so upset. I'm
Ryan,
leaving.
there's actually a email for you.
That's why I'm leaving.
Yeah, okay, so you're not leaving because Andy would really like to talk to you.
Oh yeah. What's Andy got to say?
Okay,
Bring
so
it, Andy.
he says, I know Ryan is a huge Mac fanboy and all about Apple's design ideas.
Are you kidding me?
He thought he'd pass this along.
That is ridiculous. I don't know why anybody would say that.
So he says he switched to Linux a few years ago after getting fed up with Microsoft and Apple. And
Nice.
he's been learning more and more about himself as well as the computer. I think it takes a lot of patience.
Fill your brains, man.
Linux Mint was his first and current distro. So
Nice.
he likes Clem's hard work and sensible philosophy on updates. Now that's that is subjective to user opinion, but he is definitely a fan.
Don't
of that.
listen to them. There's a lot of Mint
Very
haters
bad
out
system.
there from old school stuff. Their update system's fine, Andy, even though I shouldn't be defending you.
No, it's awful.
It's fine.
Okay, so he prepares and presents 52 plus presentations every year with LibreOffice. And
It's awesome, man.
He uses GIMP and Inkscape, and he just wanted to let you know and about this article for Apple employees keep walking into their new HQ's glass walls.
Well, he basically says that, hey, you like Apple design so much. How about this? I like the way Apple designs laptops. But that has changed, obviously, since Steve Jobs left and we have Donglegate. So they're not as great anymore. The unibody was beautiful, but it's been out for a long time at this point, and people have replicated it and done it better, frankly, than Apple. And so I'm not as much of a fanboy of their stuff as you might think, Andy. But I only use an Apple phone. And as somebody who's been in telecom for 18 years, I can tell you that that's because I understand behind the industry what Android, say, would allow a telecom company or someone to do to that device or things to put on it versus what Apple would allow to actually happen, which they're much, much more in control because they're in a walled garden, obviously. So to me, it is much more safe to be on an Apple product based on what I know than it is to be on an Android. But I have both technically. So, but as far as my main daily driver, I use an Apple iPhone. So there you go. So, I do like Apple products.
But there was a little message at the bottom of the email.
What does it say?
And it says, sent from my iPhone.
Andy. Busted, Andy. Busted. You sent an email from an iPhone to rise me about an iPhone. How dare you, sir? How dare
so
you?
Either that was his way of a joke or it was actually sent from his iPhone.
That's awesome. Well, Andy, thank you for sending the email in and for the compliments on the podcast and the funny article about Apple employees walking into their new headquarters glass walls, because that is hilarious. And if you were sitting there watching it as an observer, that really would be funny. Every once in a while, you see an engineer.
Just get some popcorn.
That's right.
Exactly. All right. So next up, Ubuntu. They're going to do something for individuals who need to save half a gigabyte of space, Rocco.
So,
have you ever wanted to save half a gigabyte on your ISO installer?
You know, like before when I was running out of space in my root partition, I might have been able to use that 500 megabytes of space, but...
Well, there's probably more to it, but essentially they are creating a minimal installation option here, and they're going to basically strip away 80 plus packages that would normally be installed with Ubuntu. It takes about 500 megabytes out of the install ISO, so it goes from 4 to 3.5. So they're basically saying it's kind of a new feature out there that they're going to add for people who want that minimal installation, and you can add your own tools on top instead of some of the pre-installed ones they have.
So they're kind of going for the KDE Neon thing?
Sort of, yes. So it's actually something I'm glad they're finally doing, and what's really good is that they're making it so that they're including it inside of Ubiquity. So it's a subsection of Ubiquity, so that like all the distros that or all the flavors that use Ubiquity can take this, but it's also not exclusive to Ubiquity. So it's just a back end like exception list sort of thing that allows any of the installers, any of the flavors to use it. Even if they change the installer and not use Ubiquity, they could still take advantage of this minimalism approach. And I think that's fantastic because there's a lot of people who would like to install the system and not have a bunch of applications set up for them because they want to use their applications they want instead of the ones that are by default. It's great to have a default option because a lot of people who are brand new don't know what the applications are called or what the options even are. But those who do, like myself, I would definitely like a minimal version.
Or those of us who write scripts so that when you go into a new install, you run the script, it goes and installs everything for you. Absolutely. Now you don't have to write all the code to strip all the things you don't want out into that script as well. It's just much easier to do a new install.
I agree. That's phase 3.
But aren't they reinventing the wheel? Surely they've had the Ubuntu Mini ISO.
No, the Mini ISO is the naming thing that they used is bad because they're the same word that mean two different things. Minimal ISO is what this is. The other minimal ISO is a text-based installer that just does the same thing. It just does it with it doesn't require all of the the basic core of it. It installs just the core system and nothing else. But it also doesn't do any kind of customizations or anything like that. Whereas this one is just remove packages that you don't need, like just the applications themselves, rather than having to worry about installing a DE in this case. Because the very super minimal one, which said it's 35 megabytes or something. It's all it does is just add the Ubuntu core and nothing else. That's it.
But does it really upset people that much that they've got 80 applications that they will never use?
Or even if you're in an office environment, for instance, and they're using these computers, they don't want their employees to have necessarily all of this stuff on there. It's a space saving issue as well for them. So I think it's a really cool idea. And, it made me think about how many times when you buy a computer or somebody gives you a computer and it has Windows on it and you you restore it to factory settings, for instance, in the HP or Dell, and they've got like 9,000 programs pre-installed on it, and it takes you an hour to get rid of them. So this is kind of like, obviously it's not that as invasive as it is in Linux, but it's kind of nice to be able to just go install there, and then I can just run a script to go install everything I want, because I don't use all of these programs that they have here. So I don't even need them to see them.
I don't think it's an upsetting thing. Yeah, I think it's just a convenience thing.
So this is going to appear on the screen where you check the box for codecs, and to me, that's what draws me to something like KDE Neon, where I have a minimal install. So Zeb, you had said, hey, does it really bother people that there's a lot of apps installed? But if I don't use it, why do I want it on my computer? Kind of thing. That's how I feel about it. So I would actually use this. That would definitely intrigue me.
One of the reasons I use Neon is specifically because it's minimal.
Yeah.
And I talked to the Ubuntu team, and they have said that if it provides them a way to do it and a way they think it works well, they will consider doing it too. So
nice.
So last week we talked about the data collection and the whole opt-in, opt-out thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then came this week, and there's an article on OMGUbuntu about the fact that upgraders who are upgrading to the newest version will actually have to opt in instead of opt out for data collection. So if you install it brand new, you'll have to opt out. If you upgrade, you'll have to opt in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously, I think, a good thing that when you're upgrading, you're going to have that opportunity to just opt in. It's not going to force you while you're doing an upgrade to auto check that box. That would be quite obnoxious, because obviously it wouldn't give you as much opportunity as if you're doing a fresh install. But I can hear it now. People are going to be frustrated with the idea and say, why not do this opt-in option from the beginning?
Michael.
It's not effective. It's not as effective for the data collection. Like, what the entire point is that this is for new installs. An upgrade's not a new install, so it's not that relevant. They can choose to enjoy the benefits of helping the rest of the community, or they could not. It's up to them. The reason why it's good is because it benefits everyone. Like the fact that the data is public, and the data is useful. There shouldn't be any reason why people are bothered by it. And the only reason people are bothered or have legitimate reason to be bothered is the opt-in versus opt-out. But if you look at the aspect that opt-in is more effective and more efficient and better for the data collection itself, that should be a reason why it shouldn't matter to people.
So says Google.
Well, no, because you can't turn that off.
Exactly.
It's the fact that they give you the option makes it completely different.
Yes, but it still should be, in my opinion, it still should be an opt-in rather than an opt-out. It shouldn't be turned on by default, and I have to opt out.
I think it should. I think it should, because that's a data metric by itself.
But you could make this, we talked about it last week, and I don't want to go over the whole thing again, but you could make the installer have a screen that you have to make a choice, but nothing's set by default. No,
but you also can be scaring people by, you're going to track me. No, but it's not really that big of a deal, and it's not that, because the things that they're tracking is not horrible.
But most Linux users,
they're told, most Linux users who have a problem with this would just opt out, and it's not a big deal. And a lot of people who are bothered by this don't use Ubuntu anyway. So
I think they're just causing confusion by having one opt-in and one opt-out. They're going to end up being called the OMGUbuntu.
Well, no, it's because it's a new install versus not a new install, and that's why they're doing it that way. And I think that's the best way to do it, because the new install is new users or at least new information, whereas the old install, like the other install and upgrade, you've already made the decision to use that one. So it would be to introduce you to a new thing, they'd have to have you install it again, because this is only in Ubiquity, not in the update manager, and you would be using the update manager or apt to upgrade your system. So it makes more sense, like, technically, to not bother doing it with the update system, because you have to rebuild that whole thing rather than just a checkbox in the Ubiquity.
So does that change your mind, Rocco? Does that make you feel like you want it now?
Absolutely.
Have you ever heard the saying, in order to know where you're going, you have to know where you've been?
But you can get there without doing it this way, is what I keep trying to say. And I don't know if it gets across, but you can accomplish what you want to accomplish You can get the numbers that you want to get without doing it this way. Like I said, you can make an option in the installer that somebody could choose which one they want to do. And it's not about scaring people. If they're going to be scared about that screen, then those are people that I'm more worried about, that they have no idea then that you're going to be collecting their information. If they're so inept to be scared about a choice in a login in a installer screen about whether I should send my data or not send my data, then by making them or having it be default opt out, you're just basically playing on those types of people, and it shouldn't be that way. It should be an opt out by default or an opt in by default, or a no choice.
The more data you have, the more effective it is.
It has nothing to do with the data, Michael. That's what I keep saying to you. It has nothing to do with the data. It has to do with how you're going about getting that data. If you have it an opt-in, you would definitely get the data that you're going to get having it an opt-out. You're going to get the data if you give them that option.
Okay, but here's just a separate thing, but sort of relevant. What if someone uses analytics on their website? They don't ask you whether you're okay with that.
No,
not even Google.
This is not my operating system, though. This is a web page out on the internet where it's open.
That you're going to visit once in a while.
That if I want to go there, I want to go there. If I don't want to go there, I'm not going to go there. But this is my computer operating system now.
Right. If it didn't ask you, I would agree completely. If it wasn't just simple uncheck a box, I would agree completely.
So I think it's going to matter what the screen looks like. And Clifford mentioned in here, just use the lone screen with it already checked and draw attention to it. And I think this is the key. This is the key point. When you see this screen, if it is obvious that you can opt out, and it's not, and I don't think it will be hidden behind some terms and conditions or some small little box that you're not going to see, and they draw attention to it and give you the option and it's pre-checked, I'm personally fine with it. I want to give them the data anyway, so I don't care. But even from a privacy standpoint and new users coming to Linux because it's more private, you don't want them to get the impression or get some misunderstanding that Linux is doing the same thing to them that Microsoft was. So with that being said, making sure you draw attention to it and the ability to opt out very easily, I think is very important. So how it's implemented, I think is going to be very, very important.
Yeah, but even on that lone screen, you're now going to have 2 empty boxes and 1 ticked. Whereas 3 empty boxes and you pick what you want.
But even the metric of someone unchecking
download updates and add all the extra codecs. I think that's where they're talking about putting it, yeah?
Yes, but okay, let's say, for example, it was already unchecked and then someone didn't check it. Did they have a problem with it? Or did they, after they had a problem where they did not read it, they didn't care, they just skipped it? No idea.
That's why you make it a screen that has to have a checkbox before the next lights up. Yeah. It doesn't come with a checkbox, or it doesn't come with an opt-in or an opt-out.
It's an either or. You have to pick something.
You have to pick something. So you'll get the information you want, but you won't turn people off by making it, oh, I got to uncheck boxes, because now you're going to say, now as a user, I'm going to say, where are there other checkboxes that I got to uncheck?
I'm offended that you made me agree with you.
There you go, Rocco. You win.
It's not about winning.
It is about. No, I'm teasing.
It's not about winning. It's not about the information. I agree. I personally am okay with sending that data because I realize it's nothing, and I realize that it's important that they need it. Okay, because it's nothing, I'm willing to send that to them, but I still think that it should be an opt-in or a decision.
Every argument so far that has ever been given that I've heard has always been like, oh, this is spyware, you're taking my data, blah, blah, just hysterical hyperbole nonsense. Yeah. The argument you just gave about make them have just a single option and they can choose either way and you still get the metric if they choose not to, that's fair. I have no counterpoint to that one. That's perfectly fine with me.
So maybe we need to have them on to tell us about it, how they're going to implement it.
I would love to have them on. Maybe they'll be on.
I'll work on my connections.
All right. So Plasma and Solus together. What do
you ever
guys
use this combination, Rocco?
Well, you know what? I downloaded that ISO and still have not had time to, because I've been messing around KDE Neon, but I still have not had time to mess around with the Plasma KDE version of it.
I downloaded it as well and also haven't used it yet.
So we got some great info on this one.
Well, when you do get to use it, you're going to see that there is a lot of love being put into it from Peter on the Solus team in there. There's some fixes and enhancements that they've put in. There's one specific, fix that I think I've seen a lot of people talk about issues with Optimus and things like that. So they've done some SDDM integration with Optimus, which they fixed that. So if you're using one of those systems or need that, then you've got that integration in there fixed. And then Rocco, this is one that we really wanted to get you into.
Yeah, you know what excites me.
Yeah, there's only one item in here that Rocco really lit up about.
I kind of skipped everything else and then went down to the breeze icons.
Theming.
So they added an emblem shared color icon and missing Crusader icons as well. But any improvements to the Breeze icon set is awesome because it's already a great icon set. Actually, when I installed KDE Neon and I did something, it was either on one of the videos or something, one of the comments was, why are you not using the Papyrus icon set? And I normally do use the Papyrus icon set, but I just had it on Breeze, and it's so nice that I didn't, it wasn't something I said, oh my gosh, I got to change.
That's the same for me. I have it. I still have Breeze after 2 years of using the same install, and it's like, it's not annoying or anything. It's actually a nice icon set and doesn't bother me enough to change it. So it's like, I don't really care.
Yep.
I can't believe somebody was brazen enough to give you theming advice, Rocco. I mean, you should just know something's wrong if the theme's not perfect with the OS.
2 years and you've not changed it.
Yeah.
That's not normal. Sorry.
I know,
and I'm like, ooh.
Well, it was funny because every time I started joining the conversations and here and in Biddle, Big Daddy Linux Live, everybody was talking about how they distro hop, and I was like, I don't do that. I didn't think about it. It's just, I've had it for multiple years, and before that I had Plasma for multiple years. I just never seemed to, unless something catastrophically broke, I didn't bother. And then now everybody's making it's contagious.
Yeah,
because I already have like 6 different installs now.
You will hop.
All right.
Resistance is futile.
So along with the Plasma updates for Solus 4 is going to be coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know of an actual release date. Michael, do you have any information on the release date?
I have information. I don't have a date. It's in a few weeks or so.
Okay.
Like they've said that it's somewhat soon, but not super soon. Like, it's very vague. Very vague.
All right. So Ryan,
it's about Michael time then. Very vague.
They said that they told me an exact
on a Michael
timeline, your time frame, and I was like, okay, and like a month or 2. Okay, got it.
So Ryan, they've decided to defer the Snapd integration into Solus. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this was so that they could get it out to people, and the Snapd integration being into the software center itself. So, Ike has done some work that has been included kind of in the base architecture that's going to be there, but not necessarily live at that point. So they're basically setting things up for the next version of Solus after 4, but they're wanting to make sure to get Solus 4 and some of the enhancements that it includes already out there to the users, and not continue to delay it to get Snapd working.
They also said it might not be like they might have another update for Software Center and not wait to the next version of Solus, so you can still get.
There you go.
It's just like, instead of making Solus 4 wait entirely.
Oh, so it would be in your update manager that you might get Snap integration at a later point after Solus 4 releases.
Yeah, they said they haven't confirmed that, but they said that is possible.
Nice.
That is one of the things they're considering to do. Yes.
But you're getting a lot of stuff in here, Rocco, as far as fixes go and updates, including 25 packages themselves being updated from Plex Media to all kinds of different stuff in there.
Well, I know that there's one in here that's going to intrigue you because I know you're a big GNOME fan.
Oh, huge.
And enabling an experimental Wayland session for GNOME. So
oh, thank goodness.
I knew you couldn't wait for that.
Well, yeah, I love both of those things. Wayland because I can't use it because I have NVIDIA, and GNOME because I don't game or do computer stuff on an iPad like interface.
I thought you were the Mac fanboy.
Oh my gosh.
He'd be using elementary.
I thought Wayland was experimental anyway, so this is going to be an experimental Wayland.
Wayland's not experimental. Everybody keeps moving for it. I mean, it's kind of in testing, but they keep pushing it, but there's still no solution to the NVIDIA problem. Yeah. The non-proprietary drivers are getting better support within Wayland for NVIDIA, but Wayland to me is a no-go until they fix that issue.
The Nouveau drivers are a lot better than you have been in the past, and NVIDIA has somewhat acted like they care, like sort of.
Maybe
they're offering a different project instead of EGL stream, so it's possible that they might at least pretend to care. Who knows? I don't know. But what's really cool about the Solus updates is that this will be the first version where you have the full implementation of the Linux driver management tool that Solus made. And for those not aware of that, that is like an infrastructure thing that Solus is kind of at this point known for making, where they'll build something and other people can use it if they want. And this is a driver management tool, so it will automatically detect the hardware you want and install the drivers for you, so you don't have to go through an installation wizard process or anything like that. And it works for like graphics cards, printers, random peripherals and stuff like that. It just gets the drivers you need.
And I believe the intention for that is to integrate it into the software center.
Yes. Yes. Pretty awesome.
Along with the updates, along with the software center, you'll have the Linux driver management, which will be nice.
Very cool. I love those driver management solutions. And it's not because it's that hard for me to go and add everything in myself now at this point. It just takes so much longer than clicking like additional drivers, checking a box and clicking restart like you can do in other distros. So having that to me is just a huge win. And I think it's a huge win for new users, because when I first came into Linux and went to certain distros that didn't have that option and I didn't know what I was doing, if I wasn't sticking with it and had a lot of people behind me, I'd probably be like, why not just go to Windows where you get the driver? Why do I got to enter in 900 terminal commands to get an NVIDIA card operational? And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but as a new user, that's kind of how you see it. All that stuff looks Greek. And so I love that from so many levels that they're adding that in there.
I agree. Because even though I can, I don't want to.
Exactly. There you go.
Well, you haven't done an install on KDE Neon because you've been on it for 2 years, but KDE Neon does not offer a driver manager. So you have to basically go do it yourself.
I remember actually the first version of Neon, because I installed Neon when it was beta, and that was my mistake. Well, not really, because it's fine, but the NVIDIA drivers it was painful. I hope it's not as painful as it is then, but it was bad.
Well, what I did was I installed the Ubuntu software properties there, and
that's much better. It was bad. I had to deal with like the monitors not working. So yeah, it sounds like it's improved. So that's good.
Well, look, Rocco, Plasma 5 is perfect.
Right?
I agree.
Right? We know that.
Absolutely. Well,
we're waiting for you to come around to that.
Right?
Yeah, right. So there's an individual who I guess is he writes a blog, Adventures in Linux and KDE, and I'm gonna slaughter the name here, but essentially they've come up with a list of issues with Plasma, saying that
Whoa, you didn't slaughter the name. Go ahead.
You want me to
he wants you to slaughter the name.
The name is Igor Zhubanik of Dido. There you go.
That's what I would have said.
Slaughtered everything. But anyway, they wrote up an article, The Road to Perfection is Paved with Bugs, and he went through a list of 42 items that he says makes basically Plasma 5 not perfect, but he's a fan of Plasma. He wants these issues to be fixed, and if they could just fix them, then we would have a perfect iteration of Plasma 5. So, Michael, what do you think? The 42 items, widget button placement, wireless icon issues, KDE Connect only working with Android. I mean, these seem like legitimate problems.
Not really. I don't think some of these are not even problems, I think, at all. Like the widget button placement, like which widget? I mean, which button? Like you could say that about pretty much everything, because a lot of widgets in different systems aren't that ideal when you first activate them and stuff like that. But like the KDE Connect thing is, well, it's still pretty new. I mean, it's only been around for about 2 years or so now. And they already said, and KDE Connect team said they're already working on an iPhone version as well.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah, and they have been in talks with the UBports team to see if they can do one for Ubuntu Touch, but they haven't. That's not really been, confirmed or anything. They're just that's on the table, sort of.
Well, here's the kicker, Michael. Here's the kicker. First, blog post really not a great way to talk about all the issues you have with something, right? Because you're not really
submit a bug report, talk to them,
submit a bug report, maybe talk with them directly. But he submitted these issues on his blog, and then KDE developer Nathaniel Graham came back and said, "Hey, almost every single one of these we already have a bug reported for and or in the process of fixing." So,
yep,
there you go.
I talked to Nathan after this happened. There was a conversation in the KDE team, and then I looked at it. He had posted the response within 4 or 5 hours. Here's all this. He was like, "This is why it's not a problem."
So if you're going to write a blog post like that, you should probably do your homework a little more. But he did give a nod to the development team and mentioned it's not meant to replace filing bugs officially, but those are his issues out there. And we've all mentioned we've had issues with distros. Some of the
if it's not to replace the filing bugs officially, he would have already seen that they were officially already filed.
All right, Michael, quit making good points. Ban.
All right, so we're going to cover some more KDE news, because this week in Discover and Kirigami, part 6. So there is some updates to Discover, Michael, that are coming in 5.13, most of them. No more huge coffee cup header. Are you disappointed?
Oh, yeah, yes. I'm sad. I missed it. I always liked it because it's, remind me to install Latte Doc. Great.
But there's no point in you and Rocco getting excited because you're not doing updates at the moment.
Well, at least for a couple of days anyway.
Yeah, for a little while.
Rocco has the update screen on in the corner and he just keeps staring at it.
So what do you think this means? It says less mobile-like appearance overall.
They've had a long track record of people being very, let's say, critical about the Discover interface being mobile first and kind of mobile only. So if you shrink the interface down and you look at the mobile version, it's great. It would look so good on Plasma Mobile. It would work so well because the slide out features for the navigation is all nice. When you stretch it out, it's exactly the same. It's just bigger. It's like, that's not how anyone would use their, before the older versions, like the 5.10, 5.11 versions of Discover, you would have gigantic boxes for each individual app. So you have full screen, and I have a big screen, full screen, and there's 5, maybe 6 visible apps. That's kind of excessive of wasted space. So this version, removing the headers saves more space, more things can show. They compacted, the 5.12, they compacted the amount of stuff that's being shown on each item. That's good. There are still more things that they can do, and I hope that they do, make it so. I like responsive design. I want them to continue to do responsive design. It's just responsive means more than just make the same thing look bigger. It also means adjust the content so that it displays properly on the device you are using it. So once that is fully implemented, Discover's interface will be fantastic.
Well, I like what Nathan Graham here said, because it's kind of funny because we've given some heat to Discover in the past. But he said, mark my words, Discover is going to become one of the most loved Linux software centers. You heard it here first. What do you think, Rocco? Is going to be the most loved software center ever?
Well, I mean, I would normally let this up to you because you're the critique of software centers everywhere. But Discover has a lot of promise. It just has some issues. Okay,
I really think it could be the best software center ever. So I like his words, and I like the fact that he's putting that out there. I like the improvements that they're making, the improvements we've seen even a week after we had them on for an interview. I think that Discover very well could become the best. But right now, at this moment, the best one I've used, frankly, is Mint.
The new Mint?
Well, how do you judge that, though?
Just by overall appearance, functionality, being able to install things without it crashing or having bugs or problems or even holdups, letting me know what's going on while I'm installing programs behind the scenes, meaning giving me some type of measurement. It's just the overall. I try to think when I go into a distribution still a year ago when I first started with Linux, which is if I'm brand new and I recommend this to somebody and they've just come from Windows, are they going to say this is good, or are they going to get confused and not know what to do next? And I feel like Mint their software center just flows. It's very simple. Searches work well. The results make sense. It's one of the, and this isn't saying much, but it's one of the best ones out there.
I would say that it's a pretty good one. I actually think that Solus's software center is probably the best one.
It's just very limiting in what's there.
That's just the applications themselves. That's not the software center experience or the interface. Like, I think it looks good. I think it works good. The searching is fine. The queue system is awesome. Like, so you can say, I want to install all of these, but don't install right now. I'm still working on what I want. And then it just goes through a list. That's great. I mean, there's so many things about it that I like it.
The problem I've got with the Solus one, though, is you can't see whether or not you've got it installed until you've looked at the application. You have to, click on apps, then click on GNOME boxes, and then go into GNOME boxes for you to see installed. It should tell you on the front screen, on that first screen, whether you've installed it or not. That's the biggest.
I didn't notice that. I think they do it. They show you in the queue. If you go into the queue, it shows it's installed. But that maybe it's just only there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's still a good tip.
For Ryan to finish off his reviews of software centers, you need to take a look at the Deepin one. It's beautiful.
I have. Yeah, it is.
Have?
Yep. It's absolutely gorgeous.
I think the Deepin one is beautiful and a little clunky though. Like the experience is a little off. But overall it looks great. We just combine them all together into one software center. Problem solved.
To rule them all. Yes. This will happen tomorrow.
Is the Linux world, dude.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
That is so likely.
Let's leave that up to the experts of Ryan's favorite desktop, because GNOME 3.28 beta.
You must have mispronounced i3.
Yeah.
With many improvements. Now, the list is quite long, but as a generic user, I'm trying to look down those lists, and I'm actually trying to think, well, what of those do I find exciting? What am I saying? Yes, great. Nautilus has got support for closing tabs by middle clicking. I don't know about you guys, but by the time I've tried to work out which finger I'm going to use to click on the mouse, I've scrolled off the flipping screen anyway.
Someone doesn't use i3.
To be fair, I do middle clicking on all kinds of stuff.
With a better list.
Well, the middle clicking close thing is actually like a normal thing. Like, because Firefox, you can close tabs that way. Dolphin, for example, you can close tabs that way.
And it's so awkward. The middle click.
Once you get used to it, it's nice, especially in a browser. You can, if you click a link in a regular link, that's the regular left click, it just opens that link. If you middle click that link, it opens a new tab of that link.
Guess what Zeb's going to be practicing after the show? He's going to be wearing that middle button out.
So if I do it on the show and my video goes off, sorry, but it's the
Oh, you must be in GNOME if you're doing it on the show and the video goes off. Did you try to pull up the applications menu or something?
So another one that caught my eye, sorry, bad pun there. I have GNOME dropping auto tools in favor of Messen.
Yep. So that's Messin is a building compiling suite sort of library thing.
So
They don't really have it.
So are we going to gain features out of this or lose features? Oh wait, it's GNOME. Never mind.
it's none of it.
Stop it. You
It's
guys got to
basically-
stop.
It's basically just faster building. Really,
It'll probably be
Faster
incredible.
building
as
of
far as
what?
users go, this is irrelevant.
So what, faster building in Mindscape? Or whatever that...
Yeah, sure.
Or
It's
you talk
basically
about
just it just compiles better. It's got better debugging, so maybe they'll fix things.
You know what? We
instead
should
of
stop
removing
talking.
them.
The GNOME fan is right there. What do you
That's what
think
I-
of this list,
That's what I
Rocco?
told you. I mean, like, you guys got to stop. Look, all of these lists here, Zeb, you're right. A lot of this is back end stuff. A lot of this is not really big highlights. But it's all of the little things, as we talk about, that go into making
It's
things
true.
complete. So
I completely agree. This is a bunch of little things that have already existed in pretty much every other DE for a very long time.
But
Yeah,
at least
great.
they're implementing them and they're putting them in.
Yeah, after
and they're,
8 years of making it.
and they're making it better, and that's what counts. So,
Sure.
unlike you guys, I actually like GNOME. So
Uh-huh.
I think GNOME is a good desktop environment to use. I enjoy using
Okay, I
GNOME.
don't-
So any list like this that's going to fix back-end problems, bugs, or
Someone's on
adds
GNOME's payroll.
or adds small features is great. I'm sorry, I think it's great.
It's
No,
great that they are
it
fixing
is.
things that everything else already has. I agree. I agree.
Says the KDE user.
I am.
Yeah,
I am using
We've
KDE.
had all these for a long time.
But
Long
I
time.
still
like
enjoy
the middle
using them.
clicking on your file manager that has been there for at least 10 years.
Well, now you have that, but you lose your icons on your desktops. They want to give you something back for what they took away. It's a give and take relationship.
That's fair. Good,
Yeah.
good job. You gave something back. No, good job.
Yes. UBports continues working on Unity 8. I like these UBports guys. This
Oh,
team over there does some awesome stuff. And so, Rocco, I know at one point you were getting frustrated with a bunch of distros, and you went to, and in fact, I think I was being frustrated with a bunch of them the same week, and you almost got me to do it. You jumped over to Unity, and we're like, hey, I'm staying on Unity right now, and you used your famous tagline because it just works. And then
Wow.
but you jumped over to Unity. Well, you'll be happy to know that while Canonical is no longer on the Unity bandwagon, the UBports team is there keeping it alive and well. Does that make you happy? Does that make you think you might go back to Unity at some point when you get frustrated again?
No,
with KDE?
no, because okay, so it depends on how far they take this. But this is Unity 8 that they're working on.
Yeah.
So when I was doing the whole "it just works" thing, it was on Unity 7. So I never did actually get to try out Unity 8. I booted into it one time, and then I ended up removing it to install something else. So I never got to play around with it. But
Unity 8 is slick, actually. It looks good. It's very smooth. I like it. It's not, production ready, but it's nice.
Well, there's some bugs in there with NVIDIA proprietary drivers, go figure, that they're trying to figure out. And it's still very much, I guess, in kind of a testing phase.
You mean like NVIDIA proprietary
like
drivers? You mean that almost everybody has?
The interesting thing is that there's the Unity 7 thing is not gone. So Unity 7 is not dead. There's actually already a community's effort to make Unity 7 on 1804. This
course.
is a okay. Have you heard of the Unit project? YUNIT.
Yep.
So this was the Unit's project work, but they decided that they couldn't. They didn't have the time to continue it themselves. So they basically just partnered with UBports to hand them all their code so that they're not working from. It's not like they stopped last year and no work was being done. All the work that the Unit team was doing is now going to the UBports, and now they're going to continue that process. So it's not like there's it's just starting from right when Unity 8 was discontinued or anything. So I think that's really good.
So one of the quotes is, "While it's both good and pretty, it's not pretty good."
Well, they're still working on it, but you gotta love their honesty. I can appreciate that, and they really do good work. They took over the Ubuntu Touch, and they're looking at doing some convergence between Ubuntu Touch and Unity 8 as well. But they took over Ubuntu Touch, and after trying Plasma, which is very much in Plasma Mobile, very much in beta on the Nexus device I had, you could not use it at that point as a daily driver, although it was beautiful and there were neat things in it. Whereas Ubuntu Touch was much more finished project, and they've taken that over, and it continues to work, and you could use it as a daily driver today if you were looking for that solution. Now, it doesn't have everything, so when I say that, just keep in mind, your basic phone functionality and some apps and things like that, but you're not going to have the full experience you would have, say, on an Android or an iPhone yet. But they've taken over both those projects. I think they've done a fantastic job on it, and they are looking for help. So if you're a developer and know things about Unity 8 development, hit them up on UBports.com, because they literally state in the article they would love some more help. So,
speaking of UBports, Canonical has pretty much helped them out. So they gave them a nice gift of 38 Ubuntu phones to do some testing on. What do you think that'll have effect on their
See, I like them so much that I'm going to give them my hardware information for them doing something so nice. I'm going to opt in.
Is that what you're going to do? You're going to opt in?
Yeah, I'm going to opt in.
Too bad. You're already opted in. You got to opt out.
But they gave them 38 phones, and what I love about this is it shows the kind of community, theme here. UBports is taking over some of these projects from Canonical. Canonical obviously has no need for those 38 phones at the moment. Probably were used during their time when they were developing Ubuntu Touch, and so they gave them all those devices. And if you've ever done any work like this, development on applications, you've got to have the phones to be able to test if it works right. And in UBports, there are situations where they have phones on there that they're saying they think it will work, but they haven't tested it, so they have to rely on somebody to download it and use it. Well, now they've got all these devices that they can actually confirm and make changes and fixes to that work. And so this is a super nice thing that Canonical did here. I love it.
I agree. It shows
they're
the
good
community.
Folks over there. They're nice folks.
They just want you to opt in.
I wish they'd send me 38 phones.
I think that it's fantastic, especially because it's a variety of phones. So there's a few phones that are on the list of not supported. Some of the phones that they were given are on that list, so they could make them supported now.
Nice.
Convergence make Michael mad. This next article I want you to take, Michael.
Okay. So Purism. Purism bringing convergence to Linux phones and laptops.
This sounds fantastic. Who doesn't like convergence?
I love
Raise your hand if you like convergence.
Okay, I do like convergence if it's done the right way.
Zeb doesn't like convergence, though.
It doesn't seem like it.
Here, I'll just pick my laptop and my computer and my phone for what I like the look of, not because it's got the same interface across all three bits and pieces.
But couldn't it be nice if it did? Will you send a message on your phone? You can go to your laptop and send a message from there?
Zeb is right.
Windows 8 was crap.
Zeb, did you hear that?
That's also true.
Michael said you were right.
Yeah, I agree with Zeb.
Somebody record
I don't think
that?
my phone and my laptop need to do that. I want convergence, not in the sense of the buzzword of, convergence, because it's the same interface and everything is just perfect, and it's just you can plug it in and now you have a big computer. Like, no, I have a big computer for the purpose of being a big computer, and I would also like a phone to work as a phone. But I would like them connected together. Thanks to KDE Connect, I can, and that's great.
Oh, look at that advertisement plug in there.
What? It's not like you set it up and I just knocked it out of the
But back to Ryan's email from his fan about Apple. That's what Apple
His fan.
so well. Yeah, their Apple Macs and their iPads and their iPhones. If you've all got them in the same house, they will all interact and work with each other without you having to do hardly anything. So,
and look, how ridiculous is it that Apple's had this forever now? Forever. We talk about making fun of GNOME
per year and then one laptop.
But they have had the integration and convergence from the very beginning. And
yeah, it's easy to make it when there's only one device and one other device, and they controlled every part of the ecosystem. It's super easy to do that. It's very hard when they're 300,000 different distros, and there are 400,000 different Android phones that all have different ROM baseband structures. They all are incompatible with each other with different interfaces.
And because you have Google with 3 different messaging platforms instead of integrating into one, but it's all happens to be issues that could be solved if you didn't have that silliness. I don't think it's a hardware specific issue, because whether you're running on an iPhone 4 or an iPhone 8, you can still do the messages on your MacBook today. So you can have a bunch of different hardware. The problem is Google in their fractured infrastructures.
So what you're saying is the fan who wrote in is correct. You do love Apple.
Look, they did it better. They did it first. And to me, it's ridiculous we don't have this on Android. And it's been years.
We do. It's
been years. Yes, KDE Connect that's why it shocks me that KDE is the only one who's actually come up and solved such an annoying problem.
They actually solved it for everybody because KDE Connect works on all these.
That's what I
so
love
ridiculous.
most about KDE is that they see that kind of a problem where nobody's fixing, and they take it and they run with it, and they
do it great.
Oh my gosh!
Mm-hmm.
I love KDE,
and it works incredibly well. And I can't wait till they get iOS support in there too. So because I'm an Apple fanboy.
Do what's it?
How will they succeed where everybody else hasn't?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I think the decision they made is ridiculous because the convergence.
You're wrong. Oh, go ahead.
Sure. The convergence is fine if that's what you want, sure, but do it in a way that makes sense. Their solution was, well, we already use GNOME on the laptop, so what we're going to do is you see how there's GNOME on the laptop and GNOME and KDE Plasma on the laptop. There's not a GNOME on the phone, but there is a Plasma Mobile. So we're going to make GNOME on the phone ourselves, rather than
now have GNOME phone.
There is no GNOME phone. No, you're right.
They're going to make one.
Yeah, they're going to make a GNOME phone. GNOME doesn't even make their own
phone
mobile space. Period.
I just want to say GNOME's going to be amazing on a phone. You click the applications, they pop up just like you're all used to.
GNOME is amazing regardless of where you use it.
It's going to be awesome.
Except for desktop. Except for desktop.
Can you imagine ET if you used the Purism phone? Hey, ET, phone GNOME home.
So if you have a Purism laptop running Pure OS and the new Librem 5 phone, which was a ridiculous success on Kickstarter, then you're going to have this integrated, security-focused, devices that all are intersynced together and work perfectly, Michael. I don't know what the problem is.
I absolutely want this phone. I have no problem with that.
Too.
And I will absolutely change it to Plasma. That's guaranteed. My issue is only the fact that their reasoning for changing it or picking this is ridiculous. KDE already has a beautiful and full-featured mobile interface. Okay, then use it. Or, no. GNOME developers' resources have not been focused on mobile user experience per se. So there's more work required to make GNOME production on the convergent Librem 5. Our team will develop and design the missing mobile components and improve the existing ones. There are not any existing ones. So instead of in an effort to bring convergence, we're going to work on making GNOME a mobile system rather than just using something that already exists. Everybody gets the whole not invented here syndrome thing. This is essentially that. The people who are making the thing that you want to use don't care enough to make a mobile version themselves, but you want to use it despite the fact that there's already something that exists that has a ton of potential that you could put effort into.
What would solve this? If they're listening, send me one of your laptops and cell phones, and I will test this out and deal with Michael for you if you guys want to send one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the progress
I'm willing to sacrifice myself here.
I'm sure
the latest progress
you
report
are.
is actually I like what they've done so far. I just don't like the whole weird.
I love it. I love everything about them. I love that they're finally going to bring a true Linux-based phone solution into the market, and I hope it's everything they say it's going to be because, gosh, we need a real Linux solution.
So you're saying you love GNOME? Is that what you're saying?
GNOME would be perfect on a mobile device.
It would be.
Honestly, I mean, everything is set up to be like I would expect. That's been my feedback. GNOME, so I think it would run great.
You can put GNOME on a phone. It doesn't work very well, but it can be done. You can see the interface. It doesn't work on a tablet. Fantastic. It looks great. Works great on a phone. the icons are so huge, it's not even worth using.
It's just one icon.
Maybe they resize them.
One icon.
Yeah, they'll just resize it. Rocco will do the theming for them.
I'll help them
Yeah,
out.
you could do that. What you could do is you should look up just go to DuckDuckGo images search, because you can actually still get images that way. If you go to search for what GNOME looks like, and then compare it to what WebOS looked like before it ended, they are creepily close.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there you go. We already had one, and now we just need it again.
And a nice little slick link there into the next article, because you talked about the web, the How To Geek web channel, which I normally associate with Windows, but having a look at their website properly, they do it for a number of platforms.
Mhm.
But one of their authors, Chris Hoffman, has released an article saying that you should not use derivatives of Firefox or Google Chrome. You should use the original, otherwise you're going to be exposing yourself to security aspects. So Google find a fault, wham, it's straight into their browser. But the Google Chrome derivatives have got to wait for it to be in their browser, backtrack it or whatever it is they do, and then slip it into theirs. And the same for Firefox. Is that really a big issue now?
Well, every time I do a review on Firefox or I do a review on Vivaldi or anything, the first thing the comments come in is, have you tried Waterfox? Have you tried Palemoon? Have you tried Basilisk? Have you tried Squeechy Weasel or whatever the new thing that somebody finds out there? Like there's so many different ones out there. And so basically what I've learned is when people are recommending this based on what Chris is saying here, they're trying to make it so that my browser's insecure so they can hack me. Is that right?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, that's what Chris Hoffman is trying to say. And what he's saying is don't bother with all these other bits and pieces. But if you do that, surely you're stifling innovation. Yes, Waterfox might not be the most up-to-date, secure Firefox quantum base, but does he do stuff better than Firefox?
No.
And would that then allow... Okay, so that's a bad example. Surely,
quantum is so... Waterfox doesn't have the multi-processor stuff and all that other stuff.
Yeah, but without these guys, they're never going to get employed by Firefox, so they're never going to get a chance to develop it. So they'll say, I'll tell you what, I'll take that. I've got some good ideas. But by telling people not to bother to go and use them, then you must be surely stifling innovation. Because
I mean, he makes a couple points that the reason he says that is, look, Mozilla has 1,000+ employees working for them that are, and a good percentage of those are working on security and patching and that type of thing. Mm-hmm. So they're implementing these issues. These other browsers have 1 or 2 or maybe a dozen developers for them. I don't know, but I'm sure it's not more than that. And in those cases, it's taking, he gives an example of Waterfox taking a full 2 weeks before they did security fixes that Mozilla had integrated. So I think it's a fair case, but I think a lot of people are going to be mad about this because so many people recommend these kind of not as well known, although most of these ones here I've heard of before, but a lot of people are big into this idea because they don't like what Mozilla stands for. They have some issue with something Mozilla's done in the past, and they want something a little more obscure or more security-centric. But I do think with everything going on and how fast these issues are being exposed with security risks, that you are taking a chance being on one of these that you're going to be left vulnerable to something that may have already been patched in another browser. I mean, I think it's kind of a fair point there. I'm not saying don't use them. I wouldn't go as far as Chris does, but I think you might have to be a little more privy to your security risks that you're going to be left open to by utilizing something like this.
I was just going to say, I just get so frustrated by these security holes that developers and white hat hackers find that have been out there for 2 years anyway. That's
true.
So what difference does it make that Firefox have just discovered it and they've now patched it? You've not been attacked.
That problem has been there, but they might not have known that it was there to like attack it. Once they know and say this is there, we have patched it, and someone doesn't take the patch, they can attack it.
Yeah. So don't tell people that you've covered up a vulnerability that nobody knew about. Just cover it up anyway.
Then that's a transparency issue that people in the security field would completely disagree with that, because they wouldn't like to just, when they see a security thing being fixed, they can go and to see and check it and audit it and stuff like that, make sure it actually is done well, or maybe they didn't miss anything, stuff like that. I think that
I just think that sometimes they're making a rod for their own back by coming up with this stuff about, oh yes, we've just patched this latest vulnerability. It's been there for 2 years, but don't worry about it. No one's ever hacked you with it yet. I just find the whole, I've been on computers since the mid 1980s, and I'm honest with you, I've never been hacked, and I can count the number of viruses I've had on my hands, and that was downloaded by my kids, not by your average Joe sensible user. So yes, it's important, especially nowadays when you've got online banking and all the rest of it. But is that 2-week window going to make that much of a difference?
I think the argument is different anyway. I don't think that the security window is that's like one piece. I think that's a valid piece to talk about, but I don't think it's the big cornerstone of it. I think the biggest issue is that Palemoon is ancient. It's forked off Firefox 38 code. Actually, it was forked off 24, and now it's on 38. Basilisk is based on more modern style of Firefox that they can convert and take out some of the features that Firefox did, like the removing Zool interfaces. So they want to put Zool back, but still keep a modern code base. So it's they're still they're doing a ton of work where Basilisk is nowhere near usable as a production browser for most people. Palemoon is super old, and I know a lot of people like it because it has the ability to support old add-ons that Firefox.
Send your hate mail to Michael at.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. My email address is on screen. It's fine. The Waterfox has a different problem in the sense that it is more close to Firefox than any of the other ones. It's just it's ran by a couple people. And I don't know exactly how many, but I know it's a very small team. And the fact that they even get it out, the updates within a couple weeks is actually impressive to me. It's just they're in a code base that is very close to not being potentially sustainable at their level, trying to keep all the features that they want while Firefox is moving so fast and so far away.
So Rocco, you've used these. You have friends who've used these. What is your take on this article?
Well, this article has a lot of reasons why that you shouldn't use these. But most of these reasons have nothing to do with the reasons that people that I know use these other browsers. So like Michael, you said the multi-processes. If you're using Waterfox or Palemoon or Basilisk, you know that you're not going to get that, and you're still using it anyway. So that the reason that you shouldn't use that for that reason doesn't really matter, because people who are using that, they don't care about that. They're using it for security, or they're using it for because my add-ons will still work. They're using it for different reasons. And the one main thing that I saw through this whole article was that all of the reasoning, I mean, it was almost like Chris Hoffman is a pseudonym for Michael Tennell.
Oh, man.
I mean, it was...
Have we exposed something here?
I mean...
Full disclosure, yes, I have written for How To Geek on multiple occasions.
And you write under a pen name.
I write under the name Michael Tennell, not Chris Hoffman. I do know Chris Hoffman, but that's not the point. I agree with his points. I don't think that they're the only reasons to not use it. I think there are reasons to use it that people want, in the sense of the people who want those old add-ons. There's no way to do them in Firefox anymore. And if you need something and you insist on it, then those are options for you. So I think that Basilisk has the most likelihood of being the best, of being the future option, because I think Waterfox is too close that they're going to have to hard fork, and I don't know if they have enough people on the team to do a hard fork, whereas Basilisk already is a hard fork. So I don't know, but
well, what browser are you on right now, Rocco?
I'm on Firefox actually.
Does it rhyme with Mome?
But here's the thing, Waterfox is very close to Firefox, so I agree. I don't think they're going to be able to hard fork it. So you're going to end up losing. If add-ons is the reason why you're going with another browser, you're going to lose those. Palemoon is so old that half the add-ons that people try to use with Palemoon don't work because you have to have a newer version of the Firefox base in order to use those add-ons. So that to me is not an option. Basilisk is pretty much the only option. And I haven't used it enough to say,
it's still in beta too.
It's very development. Yeah.
But I haven't used it enough to say if it's a viable option or not. So
I don't think it's viable. Right. I think Waterfox is the current viable option right now for people who insist on not using Firefox for those odd add-ons. I think Basilisk in the future will be that solution.
Just use Vivaldi. So how about SMPlayer 18.2? Let's talk about how awesome SMPlayer is.
All right. So all three of you can agree to that.
Yeah. Michael's an M player kind of guy.
Oh, come on. SMPlayer is the greatest thing ever.
Yep. 100% agree.
I love the GUI interface. So some of the things that frustrate me in interfaces is them hiding the play and pause buttons or your ability to track. Like you can't get to it immediately. Obviously, one of the things that bothers us, we talked about last week with VLC, is the artifacting issues that occur. But SMPlayer has a beautiful GUI with big icons if you want them. Of course, you can customize the interface if you don't want all that stuff. You want it all gone. You don't have to have it there. But it has some really neat features by default. And they've got an 18.2.2 release with some new features. But the notable features of SMPlayer with the versions that are out right now is one of my favorites is the memory where you left off. So if you're playing a movie or a video and you have to pause because the kids decided to throw something in the toilet, just a random thought there, and then you have to pause your movie.
That ever happen.
Yeah, that would never happen, and go get it out of the toilet and then come back and you hit, open up your video player. It's going to resume where you left off. That is such an awesome feature. You can play YouTube videos. You can customize skins and themes. What's not to love? Somebody tell me what's not to love, except Michael. I don't want to hear from you.
Michael's only going to tell you that MPV is the back end, and it's better because you just might as well use MPV. That's basically what he's going to say.
That's not okay. The feature he just described, that's an MPV. Just saying.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me in MPV where I can go in and adjust the brightness of my video. I can't find any controls anywhere.
It's a shortcut.
But in SMPlayer, you just go properties, video, adjust your brilliance, contrast, color saturation.
I'm not saying SMPlayer is not great. He said it's not he said it's the best.
It is.
MPV
definitively
is my best.
You're wrong.
To be fair, we should definitely.
We should have a player off. We do a video and we just play videos till one of them crashes. It's a player off.
We're going to crash because they both use the similar backend, so it doesn't matter. The only way it would crash is if SMPlayer's GUI crashed. That's it.
So the notable features for this release have to do with YouTube videos and playlists and problems that you would have if you would search for YouTube videos or play them. So it's always nice to see a great player become even better.
Yeah, the greatest player become greatester.
So let's talk about another great player. Okay, so Katie Amarok.
Oh my gosh, you're on your own on this one.
Did you say great?
I did. Okay, so it may have been great.
You're talking about like in a museum?
Let's rephrase this. It was great at one time, maybe 5-6 years ago.
At 1.4 and older, it was great.
It was great. So what they're doing is they are getting a port to Qt5, and they are putting a few bug fixes in, and soon you are going to have the ability to play an updated Amarok music player. Come on, that doesn't excite you?
No.
Well, when you only have one song you have on repeat, I guess it is exciting.
But see, this is the beautiful thing.
I'm not a big fan of Amarok because Amarok 1.4 was fantastic. It was the best player. I agree. They decided to just make it not usable. They decided to make it annoying where you have for some reason, the default main centerpiece of the player is a wiki page. I don't care. Whatever. Anyway, so.
But you can change that.
the fact that it's default is a bad idea, and the fact that they've made other bad ideas. That's just one that's so ridiculous. I don't need it in my I don't need a browser in my music player. Okay, but more importantly, 1.4 was great. Clementine is a fork of 1.4. So people who like Clementine, they've already experienced most of what Amarok was, even though Clementine has still changed some things that are not that great, but overall, very good. So yeah, it is coming to Frameworks 5. That's cool. But the one that's not good is coming to Frameworks 5, so I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this just in, guys. This is shocking. People are still using Amarok. That's what they're telling me. This is shocking news. Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't use it anymore. I mean,
what do you use? Why are you defending it?
I have only one song, so
you don't even need a player.
SMPlayer for that one.
No, he has a tape cassette player. He doesn't even use the computer. He's got a boombox with a cassette player.
One of those big boombox on your shoulder.
You know what never fails? The good old cassette.
All right, so Michael, there's a Kdenlive beta out.
Yeah. So, okay, this is actually something I'm actually interested in talking about.
Yeah,
so,
I figured.
Kdenlive is going through a process of redeveloping the core underpinnings of Kdenlive, and they just released a beta AppImage that you can play around with, like the new development version of that underpinnings. What I've seen so far is very promising, and there's a lot of cool features that I like. It's actually, even as a development video editor, it's not crashy. I didn't have Crasher once. There are some features I can't find that were in the older version, and there are features that seem to not work. So it is still definitely development, but it is promising, in my opinion, that if a development build of almost a complete rewrite is so stable already.
Kdenlive is one of the most important pieces of software. For me, it was the piece of software, one of the pieces of software that kept me with Linux when I was playing with it early on. If there wasn't an alternative as good as Kdenlive, I probably would not have. And Kdenlive is just so important to the Linux software suite out there. And I'm so glad to see that it's continuing to get updates. They're continuing to modernize it. They're continuing to make it better, because it's just a fantastic tool that I think at this point, I've gone into Windows and looked at Adobe Premiere and stuff that I used to use, and I don't even like the interface anymore. But that when I was back on Windows, I couldn't have imagined being on something else. So it's just so well done. So I'm glad they're doing updates.
I love Kdenlive, and I think that they should do a Kickstarter or something to get more funding, so they can.
I agree.
Increase their development. Great, because I think Kdenlive is by far the best open source video editor ever made. Even back when it was buggy, it was still the best. And now that it's stable and it's got so many great features, and it's just fantastic. I mean, it has so much potential. It could be a professional grade video editor if there was just a little bit more like funding and time being able to put into it, maybe more people or something. I don't know. It
is one of the projects I always make sure to donate to, because I love it so much.
Yep. Same.
All right, so Ryan, we have to skip a few things here because we're running way long. So,
okay,
what have you been playing, dude?
Man, I have been playing a classic, one of the greatest first-person shooters ever made, without a doubt, is CS:GO, and I am terrible at it. But I've been playing with you and Dustin some this week, and have been really having fun. And you know, if you've not played CS:GO, which I doubt there's anybody out there, it is.
I don't think I've played it.
It is one of the most accurate, beloved first-person shooters, and it's out there. Rocco is a shark, by the way, in the game. In case anybody wants to know, he'll lie and say he's not any good and ask about button presses, and then kill the whole other team. It's craziness. Rocco, you have anything to say about that?
I like CS:GO. Yeah.
Yeah, he likes CS:GO. He's been playing a lot more than me, but it's an awesome game. So go check out CS:GO if you've not played it. Probably most everybody who plays games, those interested in games, has touched
it for like
CS:GO.
3 hours. That count?
It is tough. It's Rocket League tough. Like, anybody can go in and play it, but to be good at it, well, that's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
I play with people who like I was playing with some people who invited me to play, and they were like, "You'll love it. It's great." And then after I got done, I was like, "That was torture. I don't want to do that again."
Yeah.
Look at the amount of hours they had spent.
It's
One
a
of them
fun
had
game to watch on
5,000
Twitch
hours
tournaments
in
too.
that game.
That's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that was like, no, never again.
Yeah, it's definitely a competitive game, but it's a lot of fun. And if you don't want to play it, you can watch a lot of tournaments around it, because I think it's in the top 1 or 2 esport tournament games of all time.
Oh yeah, it's totally one of the most popular for sure.
Brian,
Yeah.
Feral.
Gosh, I love those people.
They're awesome, aren't they?
I love them. I love their face. I love everything about Feral. I love them.
And it doesn't go with the name either, Feral. But we love Feral. They have given another gift to Linux. So
Again.
Total War Britannia
Yep.
will be coming to Linux, scheduled for April 19th. What do you think?
I mean, this is a multi-award-winning strategy series already. You have to like these type of defense strategy, army building, management, and conquesting games. But it's definitely a AAA title in there, so it's yet another AAA title by Sega that we're getting on, thanks to Feral, onto Linux that you can play. So if you like those type of games, then this is a perfect one for you to get into. And right now, you can pre-purchase this game for $35. Which I think is like 45 Queen Jewel pounds, right? Or whatever kind of fake money you guys use over there.
Pounds sterling, old boy.
Zeb, you're probably not going to play this, are you?
Is it anything like Delta Force Black Horse Down?
No.
From years ago.
No.
It's kind of like, I'd say it's an RTS, right?
Yeah.
So it's like StarCraft or like Warcraft, things
Or
like that. Not World
Age
of
of Empires would be, because it's more medieval based. But yeah, it's definitely one of those strategy based, military controlling games. And listen, it's not a big deal for us, but a lot of people who are huge fans of these style of games out there. And this one's won a ton of awards and very popular. And it's awesome that we can say we have it.
Well, it's a AAA game coming to Linux. It's got to be a bonus whether you play it or not.
Exactly.
I agree. Just because it's AAA, even though I don't play these. I mean, the closest I ever played was OAD. Is that right, Rocco?
OAD. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm not a fan of these types of games, but I'm a fan of Feral, and I appreciate them putting the work in to bring it for the people who are fans of these games.
Nice. Well, all I got to say is, what the golf? I mean, really.
Gosh.
Michael, there's a new game out, and it will support Linux.
That's great.
Okay, so it's called...
You won't want to play it, but it will support Linux.
Well, I saw the video. I do not want to play it.
Okay, so it's called What the Golf, and it's a golf game, miniature golf type thing. Is this like similar to what we used to play with Golf with Friends? No. So what is this like?
I don't know.
It's space golf. It's horse golf. Boss fighting golf.
It's What the Golf. That's what it is. That name is very apt.
Yeah. I mean, look, golf games are boring or can be boring. And so they're bringing some fun into the golf games here with space golf and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think it's funny-ish, but like it would be like if you're bored for 10 minutes kind of game. Like, it's that kind of thing. I think it'd be fun to people and it would be great for kids because it's so ridiculous. Yeah. But when they first start the video and it starts showing the gameplay and it pulls the meter back, so you're like about to hit the ball, and instead of hitting the ball, you hit the person in front of it. And, okay.
Well, here's something interesting about it. So the game is crowdfunding, all right, and they have a $50,000 goal. So on February 14th, they were at 22%, according to Gaming on Linux. Today, as of this recording, February 23rd, they are at 97%.
So that's awesome. Lot of people want to play golf in space.
Yep. And they still have 28 days to go to meet their goal.
There you go. Well, it reminds me of Nintendo Wii like graphics, and you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, Zeb. So it may be a really fun game.
What is he talking about, Zeb? What is he talking about?
To it, to really.
I think this would be fun for like a party game. Or
Sure,
something.
yeah.
It has potential. It's just not. It's not Rocket League. So
You know what has a lot of potential? A game that I recommend. And in fact, if you guys are fans of Zeb, I know a lot of people are fans of Zeb. He's going to play this tomorrow on his stream. I'm announcing it here first.
We're challenging him?
Yeah, well, we're not only challenging, he's guaranteed that he will play this game live on stream. And it's called Communist Dogifesto. And you wouldn't let your fans down, would you, Zeb?
So now that they know that you're going to be there, I mean, you wouldn't let them
we are 2-0 on the Destination Linux game challenges at the moment. So don't hold your breath, people, please.
For us in America, that's 0-2.
Those who know math over here. Yeah.
The Communist Dogifesto. What? A sci-fi first-person shooter built on Linux is now out and it's open source.
You know what his words are? What the golf?
Well, let me bring you into this game, Zeb, because I don't think you're feeling it here. Okay, imagine that you're on a Soviet space station. All right,
It's got snow on it.
There's no snow. It's just made by those Soviets.
But you start asleep underwater.
Yeah. You're in lunar orbit. Imagine how scary it is. You're in space on this Russian thing, and you're in lunar orbit. And it's been overtaken all of a sudden by hyper-intelligent dogs.
Right.
And they're trying to kill you.
You
Please
lost
don't
me.
tell me it has the soundtrack for Who Let the Dogs Out.
Well, you can add that if you want.
I'm kind of disappointed that it doesn't.
You could use Amarok and play that in the background while you're playing the game. And so, look, the graphics aren't anything.
The graphics are right up Ryan's style.
Listen,
terrible.
I know you guys are graphic snobs, but there are good games that people don't focus on just graphics, right?
Dude.
And this one is one of those.
These graphics are worse than, like, Owlboy. I mean, these graphics are terrible.
Whoa. We got a lot of people commenting how much they love Owlboy in our video. And so if you want to send Rocco an email, you can send that to comments@destinationlinux.org if you're a fanboy of Owlboy. But this game looks so much fun, and Zeb has promised us and all his fans he will live stream it.
So I got a question for you, Ryan.
Uh-huh.
And I'm being dead serious.
Okay.
With the graphics like this,
yeah,
what would make you, or anybody really, want to play a game like that has that kind of graphics on it? I mean, if I gave you a operating system that looked like that, you would be like, ooh, Windows 95. I mean...
Yeah, totally.
But what would make you want to play a game that has graphics like that? And I'm being dead serious.
Well, for me, this type of game reminds me, the first game I think I ever played on a PC was Wolfenstein 3D, which if you look back on right now, the graphics were horrible. But the elements of that first-person shooter that were in there and just the level design and everything else were amazing for the time. You look back at it now, you laugh. This game
the
to me
graphics were amazing for the time too. These are graphics from that time here.
That's true, but it's a throwback, right? And number two is a lot of these type of games I like to play on things that I have a lot of different computers, and not all of them have dedicated graphics cards and all the fancy hardware that I have on my desktop. So if I'm playing a game that I like having some of these games like this in my Steam portfolio so that I can play them on things like lower end laptops or whatever that I have laying around. And they're a lot of fun. And you can really get into this genre. There's a whole resurgence, kind of like a hipster thing going on with these type of games because it brings people back to that style of game. So that's the answer. Whether you like it or not, you want to have, I need movie graphics with realistic eyes and people really exploding. I like little pixelated puppies running at me that I have to shoot at.
Can we just have an update? We're going to have a Destination Linux update.
Yeah,
3-0 for the game challenge. We haven't even finished the show, and I'm not even going to look at that.
Well, I haven't played it, but it looks like a blast.
No.
I do appreciate the fact that it's open source and on Steam. Like that's really cool.
Well, I hear your argument, and I can actually relate to it because I remember playing, say, 007 GoldenEye, And
Yeah.
if you try to play that in an emulator now, the graphics it's almost unplayable, especially on a big screen, because the graphics are so pixelated. And the same way with
retro, I like it.
And the same way with Medal of Honor, the original one. You try to play that, the graphics are so pixelated, but it would be awesome to go back and play with it. So I guess it's a nostalgia thing, and I can appreciate that. So
there are certain parts of it where it made me feel like it was like a GoldenEye style. It's just like the way that the weapons look is very GoldenEye. The dogs look super weird though, so that's.
You can watch it live on Zeb's channel tomorrow. Well, it won't be tomorrow for you guys. The patrons can see it tomorrow.
Just don't waste your time.
Go to the stream anyway, but it won't be that.
I've still not got my 15 subs back from playing Canary.
Plus 15 subs.
It's all your fault, Ryan. Oh no, that was my suggestion.
Oh yeah, that's yours, man.
Sorry.
If you'd stick with me, Zeb.
It's I mean, that's really a mad world right there.
I actually bought it and then had to get a refund.
Well, now you can use that money towards this
you can do this and see if you need a refund or not. If you
the
don't,
communist Dogifesto.
See, that's the good thing about Steam. You can get the refunds, Zeb, so you can buy it without any problems whatsoever, because you can just return it.
The name alone is worth a purchase. The communist Dogifesto. I mean, come on.
No, that's probably one that would keep me from buying it.
Oh my gosh. Well, is there any game on this list this week you'll buy? Any of you? Bunch of cheapos.
What's that I hear? Crickets?
Sphinx and Cursed Monkey? Monkey. Cursed Monkey.
Now that might be a good game.
Yeah, I would play that.
The Sphinx and Cursed Mummy? Nobody? The revamp of the 2003 classic?
Yeah, it's a classic.
Third classic person. I've never heard of.
Listen, all of you have enough gray in your hair that you can't act like you don't know this classic from 2003.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Nope. Never. Nobody? Well, Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy is an original third-person action-adventure game. I'm not a big action-adventure person myself, but if you like those type of games, it is got 88 positive reviews. It's only $14.99, and you can pick it up. It's been completely revamped by the developers, so we talk about nostalgia a lot. Maybe this is the nostalgia episode, Rocco.
Maybe it is.
Maybe that's the title of our show.
There nostalgia. You go. We don't have to worry about it no more.
Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy will be one of those games that you can get that nostalgia fix on.
Well, it's good that it supports Linux, so that's a good thing. They've updated things, they've patched things, so a lot of times when you play an updated version, you think, well, man, maybe they should have fixed this. So hopefully they've fixed some of the bugs that were in it before.
There you go.
It looks like it's it looks like a throwback, like a Zelda type, like the Ocarina of Time type game.
Yeah, definitely.
So I respect that, but not $15.
You don't respect it $15 worth. Man, you guys are so cheap. That could be the title too.
That's pretty accurate.
Cheap versus nostalgia. All right, so Zeb, what are you going to be doing this week? Because I know you're not going to be playing that game.
No, I'm going to be trying to beat English Bob as the speed king of Euro Truck Simulator.
What are you currently up to now?
Well, I've officially done 371 on a stream.
Mm-hmm.
Steve has done 378.
Wow.
Dang, go Steve.
But then he suddenly changed all metric on me. So he then put out a stream 600 plus, and I thought, great, he's cracked it. Until I went in and it was 600 kilometers an hour. not miles per hour. But what's really great about it is one of the other guys who comes on our YouTube channel, a guy called Nabist, has actually gone in and edited a map for us. Because our biggest problem was we'd get up to speed and then they'd put a bend in the road.
Mm-hmm.
So he's actually given us 15.5 miles of straight highway. So we can now just get going and keep going straight. And we're now trying to tweak gearboxes and engine ratios and all sorts of bits and pieces.
So this is basically Rocket Trucker.
We're trying to crack 400 miles an hour. Now, we've already got a 500,000 horsepower engine. And we can't get it to go over 400 miles an hour. And I don't know if any of you here have played the game, but normally you turn left and then it slowly goes left, and then you turn right and you can come back. At 300 miles an hour, you turn left and it goes. So you're constantly doing this down the road, trying to get the flipping thing to get straight again. So it's proving quite a challenge, but I've got a little trick up my sleeve. And I've actually got the developer of Peppermint trying to help me.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
I'll just let that cat out of the bag. So when I do crack 400, it's not me that's done it. It's the guys at Peppermint.
So this is Euro Truck Simulator.
That's on Euro Truck Simulator, yeah.
Has Ghosty been involved in this shenanigans?
No, because Ghosty just loves playing the game properly. And I think he's on about 95% map coverage.
Wow.
Which is, if you look at the Euro map, it's just astronomical. And I don't know how he's got the patience to find the jobs to go from A to B to C to D. So no, he's not involved. It's just me and English Bob. So that's what I'll be doing this week, trying to crack 400 mile an hour.
Well, you can check that out on Zeb's channel. There'll be a link in the description. Michael, what are you up to?
Well, I'll just be working on some next episode of This Week in Linux, which is technically already released when you watch this. So
I love
maybe
the time
next one after that. Yeah. And also I'll be working on doing some I'm working on some new videos that are actually going to be published this week. I know, right?
You know what else you'll be working on?
No.
Kdenlive graphics for Destination Linux.
That.
He's already forgotten, Rocco.
Yeah, I won't let him forget.
Ridiculous.
That'll be done before the end of the weekend, so we're good.
Mm-hmm. Ryan?
Well, listen, I'm going to be playing Communist Dogifesto for sure.
You can't be playing Communist Dogifesto because you have to play CSGO.
That's true. But if I can get good at Communist Dogifesto, it may translate over into CSGO.
Yeah,
that's true. They're very.
I will be doing Arch Merge ISO testing, continue to do some testing there on the Ryzen build and having fun with that. And I'm also going to be doing a comparison of the best cord cutting service out there for TV. So I'll be doing all kinds of fun stuff this week.
Nice. So,
what are you be doing?
Yeah.
Rocco will be editing from this point all the way till next week.
Yeah, like all day Saturday, all day Sunday, I'll be editing. But in between, I may find time to play some CSGO with my new mouse. So I did a video on unboxing the new mouse as a Zowie ECB2. Or EC2B, I should say.
It was a great video, but you messed up in there and you didn't cut it out. You talked about not taking my advice.
I said something about not listening to your advice all the time.
That's ridiculous, Rocco. You must have obviously made a mistake.
I obviously made a mistake and forgot to cut that part out. But I'm going to be testing that out and hopefully do a follow-up video on it to show how it's going. So,
greatest mouse ever made, Zowie.
You've convinced me to actually. Well, Rocco has convinced me to look at a potential.
Oh, Rocco did it, but the videos I had on the Zowie. You know what? I don't have to take this.
All right, that's it. We're out of here.
Well, fine.
All right, so thank you to everybody for listening and watching, supporting us in whatever way that you can. Everybody have a great week. And remember, the journey itself is just as important as the destination.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Destination Linux Podcast.
It's just a backup in case
Zeb's got it.
In case something happens to, like, if my computer blows up right after the podcast, it's a backup.
Or Rocco kicks it off the desk because he's in KDE.
Or I have sound issues in KDE and my audio just changes to a random song. Then I might kick it across the floor.
Anybody know the name of the song Rocco was playing earlier?
Thunder Rolls?
It goes... Dun, 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 dun.
KDE Blues, I think.
Yeah, the KDE Blues.
Yeah.
That was MIDI Brooks.
MIDI Brooks. It was Thunder Rolls in MIDI format.
You have to export it as an
Yeah,
MP3.
I've just found it. I'm being a dir.
Computer hard for Zeb.
Nobody's off limits, Zeb. Nobody's off limits.
I think Zeb is just so harsh. It's just
Yeah. It was a good point, Rocco, about Zeb.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's gone now so we can talk about how Zeb is.
Yep. You
I
believe
know
what
you were
he said?
talking directly to him.
Do you believe what he said in the episode?
What was that stupid dog game you came up with just then?
Yeah, it's shocking.
absurd. Wow.
I think we probably should have a private conversation with Zeb.
I think we should
His
take him
hatred for
aside.
GNOME.
I think we should take him aside. And
He's out of control.
he is.
He's a loose cannon.
He's a loose cannon.
And he sits in his corner and he just talks nonstop.
Yeah,
Exactly.
He takes over the whole show.
the cussing,
yeah.
all that stuff, just too much. He's over the top, Rocco. Please get him under control.
We need an intervention.
We do need an intervention, yeah. Maybe if we played back the videos to him, he would understand. He'd be like looking into a mirror,
Right.
you know?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Seb, do you have your speakers muted or something? Because you look like you're actually enjoying yourself, and this is crazy. You're just sitting back there looking all cool as a cucumber, and everybody else is.
All right, I was scrolling down here. I want to know who of you put the graphics are right up Ryan's style.
Did not.
Who decided to add that kind of BS into my document?
I don't know what you're talking about.
How dare you, Rocco?
I did not, but would have.
And this is our document, sir.
It's mine. It's mine until we review it live.
Should I update it?
Do it. Let's find out.
All right, let's do it live and see how this
We're doing it live.
pans out. Well, it's not actually live, but
Recording this, so it's not.
well, technically, I am recording this.
Yeah. How do you think he gets all the bloopers?
Yeah,
He
really.
waits for us to screw up and get comfortable, and then he captures you. I love iPad interfaces.
Dude, there's an iPad interface. Yeah, I mean, come on, like this is.
Has got to go into the S to the T.
What? I don't talk like that.
Yeah, you
that
do.
was the best Ryan Goofy.
So
I don't talk like that. It's ridiculous.
no,
You guys are being ridiculous. I love it. It's fantastic.
you don't need this.
I have to take this.
I know, Rocco, you don't have to put up with this.
I don't have to put up with this.
You need to embrace it.
I don't clap on my thing either. I just do.
Oh, come on. Like,
yeah, but
that's
we would
cooler.
all have to do it at the same time. It would have to be
Clapping
like,
is way cooler.
but it would have to be like a couple in succession,
And if
right?
it's
To
anything
get
like
it,
Destination
to get
Linux,
each of us. Yeah, we'd have to be like discoing, yeah, or like in the 70s.
When you go, hang on.
Our poor
Yeah, we should
patrons.
Have you seen what Matthias has written in chat?
No, I haven't. What is he writing?
How have you even made it to 58?
I don't know. Well, I mean, like, well, okay, I'll tell you why I've made it through 58 so far, because Ryan wasn't here for half of them.
Oh, man. What? That was cold. Why? Why do you attack me? Michael does things too, but you always go after me.
Because you should know better.
He has the same
Look,
hatred towards me that he has
Don't make
towards
me turn
clapping.
this car around.
He just hates clapping too much.
I wonder what happened to him as a child where he hates clapping.
Don't make me turn this podcast around.
I'm not clapping. That's it. I made a decision. I'm not clapping.
Why? Why not?
What do you have against
What is
clapping?
your juxtaposition of clapping?
I'm a
Yeah.
clap hater.
I tell you what, we can all do this. Ready?
It's too loud, Ryan. It's rude.
Yeah.
Oh,
How
yeah.
about we do that? No.
You never do a face palm.
We should just probably do a 10-second countdown together, kind of like in sync, unlike what we do at the very end of the episode.
8, 7,
7,
6,
6,
9, 2,
4.
5.
Destination Linux.
2, 1,
It's not,
0.
That's not what I meant. Everybody have a great week.
And remember, the journey itself
is just as important
as the destination.
He got him with the little fingers again.
You even muted me, you jerk. So that you could laugh without me saying anything back. That's why you did it. I know how you work. How dare you. Dare you, sir. That's pretty good. Get more clever, man.